So my question is for Kippi, and I think you've kind of told us a little bit about this, but Kippi, as a caregiver, what are some of the roles you've had to play during this treatment journey?
Well, I hate to admit, but I'm a retired financial advisor. I come from family members who are medical people. So I have spent hours and hours and hours ever since this started and we got that diagnosis of Cocci, reading about it, trying to, go anywhere I could to find out about it. Then he's put on oxygen, reading about that. He was told he had mild COPD in the midst of all this. So reading about that, reading and reading and reading and reading and reading and reading and reading. And then Rhonda and I would, Rhonda would, we've depended on Rhonda through all this. And maybe I'd throw a question out to Rhonda, well, what about this? And then she said, yes, I've read that too. And we should do this. So I'm not comfortable. I've had to, in a way, play doctor. And that has not been comfortable, but it worked. The fourth time his fever came up, he'd been in the emergency room 3 times. And Larry was like, I am not going to the emergency room again. So I went ahead and thought about fevers. And I had seen what they did at the emergency room, which is they cranked up his oxygen when he got there. Because, and a lot of the things said he had hypoxia, if I'm saying that right. And so that particular time I cranked his oxygen up to 5. He was on 2 liters, cranked it up to 5. And gave him some ibuprofen, followed up 3 hours later with some Tylenol. And oh my gosh, by the next morning, he was feeling fantastic. Then slowly weaned him back off the oxygen before we saw Rhonda. So now Rhonda and I, so then I told Rhonda what had happened. And then we saw Rhonda and and she was like, yeah, you should take him to the emergency room. Well, he didn't want to go. So, and I don't blame him, I mean, it's crazy. Then when Rhonda gave him the medication, 800 milligrams of the Cocci, the fluconazole, the first couple of days still, Larry just wasn't feeling well. He wasn't moving well. He was stiff, and Rhonda and his ankle was still swollen. And Rhonda was like, give him some ibuprofen because that seemed to help with the swelling. Did that the first day, and then his stomach was upset. And so, he really didn't want to take as much of that. So I just finally thought about it, and I thought, okay, at home he's running. And Rhonda and I really hadn't communicated this properly with Rhonda. At home on the pulse ox, he'd been running for the last 3 months, 88 to 91, 92. And I thought about it, well, how in the world is your body going to heal itself when it's running on low oxygen? So I just went ahead and cranked his oxygen up to 4, and he's been feeling like $1 million with 800 milligrams and his oxygen at 4. $1 million, i.e., in comparison to how he was feeling.
A couple $100.
Yeah, and he can move easily. His swelling has come down. If his ankle does swell, he takes 400 milligrams of ibuprofen within a few hours. Seems to clear things up. So that's where we are right now. That's how I've helped the most, and tried to be patient. I wrote some things down here. Tried to be patient. Where was this? Role you played, number 5. Yeah, studying, questioning, and making sure that he's taking the scripts, he's doing what the doctors have told him to do, or what Rhonda's told him to do. And his brain was really foggy for a long time through this, so I've been having to speak or interpret. Rhonda will ask him something and he doesn't understand, so I put it into more terms I know he might understand, so he can answer Rhonda's question. because he's, I don't know how he's feeling. I can see it in his face. So trying to keep him comfortable and then doing all of his jobs outside that he usually does. That's how I've been doing it.
Basically, she's been babysitting me for the last 3 months.
And trying to be patient, very patient. I mean, I've seen sick people, I've seen dying people, my mother dying and things like that. But I mean, from, overnight, Larry became a very healthy man to an extremely, extremely debilitated person. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. So that's what people need to know, that they have a very sick person on their hand and they got to really step in and do everything they can to.